new air filter, carburetor gaskets, some fuel line, new spark plug, and this little cheap carburetor. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. Most of the time they do. So let's work toward that. The coil gap on this against the flywheel is adjustable, and I'll just stick something thin down in there between it and then tighten it up. We'll see if we get some spark. We'll set this plug at about 30. Right, we'll throw a drill on here with a socket on it. See if we see any spark now. Oh yeah. Well, it tried to start, but that's what'll happen. It'll break off your I don't know that I've ever tried that before, but it did try to start, so we know it's gonna work once we put it together. That is slightly funny, I suppose. Maybe a little dangerous, but anyway, let's get finished on it. Made in China. I bet everything that I bought is probably made in China. A nice little double tie. Which way do I roll it? It goes this way. We'll just fill it up to the top. And then this little edge of the spring needs to catch right in here on this lip. So let's see if we can make that happen. There it is. A few winds. Maybe something like that. So listen, the best thing to do here, I think, is let's put all this assembly back on real quick. That. Get a little snug. See how that little gear works? Give it a couple of turns. Perfect. Tuck her down in there. Perfect. Arrow that way. A couple of gas tank bolts and nuts. Well, that was right behind here. How inconvenient. little crankcase vent tube. Alright, well I changed the old spark plug out in it, and it is still smoking like crazy. It's dirty oil, which kind of, I don't understand, but it's got to be rings, you know, or valve stem seals. So maybe she wasn't such a good deal after all. So that right there is not normal. There is a lot of oil in there. Look at that oil resting in there. So it's probably got a broken ring, I would suspect. We'll dig a little further, but it's not real carboned up. So I know this is the camshaft, and I'm guessing this is a counterbalance shaft. Better look for some timing marks or some marks on that, because I'm sure it goes in there a certain way. I know there's timing marks on the camshaft. I better look for those as well. Ooh, those look good too. Ooh, those are tight. Yes, that looks good too. Well, guys, I don't see anything wrong here. So I don't know. I think I'll, gosh, this piston is in great shape. I think I'll get some standard rings for it. I might have a hone to where I can hone this out. Man, there's no lip on the top. Oh, that's just in great shape. All right, let's re-ring it. I want to put a new seal, output shaft seal here, and we're going to have to get a new gasket, head gasket, and a new side cover gasket. Think about how difficult it would be if this is sitting like this for oil to get up here to get past any valve stem seals that are there. I bet it doesn't even have valve stem seals. I'm a little confused, but that's not too hard to do. Okay, so I soaked the head and the muffler in a 5-gallon bucket full of detergent, Dawn. I wanted to make sure that the muffler was cleaned out of any oil residue, and I wanted to get as much of the oil residue that I could off of the cylinder head. I noticed it was kind of smoking everywhere out of this thing whenever I started it. So I got this off of here, and I can see why. I was hoping not to have to put another $1 in this thing, but here's this. It is just full of holes. So I found one on Amazon. I think it was about 20 bucks. So that'll work. Now, on the other stuff I got, just came in, is a little gasket kit. It's got the head gasket, carburetor gaskets, valve cover gaskets. a set of rings, and I hope they're correct. And then I couldn't tell by looking, just initially glancing at the cylinder head, but it looks like they got valve stem seals. But let's go ahead and get this thing put back together, see if it works. It has been a pretty good while since I have lapped in valves, and I think I still have the compound to do that. And it's been a long time since I've honed out a little cylinder. I think I have a hone for that. So let's find the hone. Let's see. Yeah, there it is. And then the compound might be in this little chemical drawer here. Yeah, there's some compound right here. If I remember right, there's a coarse and a fine. Okay, that says coarse. Let's just do a fine on it. Fine. Old Felpro. We'll just put a little dab on there. Okay, so here's what I come up with. This is a rubber grommet piece that goes on top of a valve cover that I saved off a valve cover gasket set. I got a screw here. I think that's going to have enough gription to get a hold of that valve head. Okay. The tool that's made to do this, it has suction cups, 2 different sizes on either end, and that suction cup, you just put a little spit on it, and you do it by hand. And I don't have one. Oh, that looks good. So you can see here that has got a gray spot all the way around it. That's making contact with this seat that also has a gray spot all the way around it. This intake probably doesn't need it, but let's just real quickly put some on it. Yeah, that's perfect. That does not have any seals on it. It looks like it's got a groove made for seals. Since this is the top of the engine, you know, the splashing of oil, it's not going to splash around much in that area right there. So, you know, maybe this one doesn't need it. So there's what they look like. Oh, that does fit that. Look at that. Okay, so careful. Dang, that fits. Okay, so I'm going to put a little splash of motor oil on this valve stem. Push it up through there gingerly, like that. Okay, so that's got to go on there first, doesn't it? All right, let's try that again. Here's one for the exhaust. That'll work. Alright, so it has been a little while since I've done this, so I'm just going to put a little WD-40 in there for lubricant. And we're just going to go kind of in and out real gingerly. Make a kind of a crosshatch pattern, I think. Okay, so that looks good to my eyes. I really don't know, but I think it's better than leaving it shiny for the rings to seat with. All right, let's start to clean this up real quick and put it back together. I rinsed this out really good with carburetor spray and WD-40. The proper way to do this would be, if this didn't have all this other garbage on it, is I would use some hot soap and water on this thing. But this is the kind of stuff that comes out, all these filings from the stone and from the cylinder. And so I wiped it and wiped it until until it came out clean, completely clean, where there was nothing left on the rag at all. Little CRC brake clean. And on this one, you can see this oil ring is all one piece. This is like the automotive ones that I've put together before, that it's three pieces. You got a top and bottom in the center part right here. That fits what's too thick. 0.114, 0.107. That's never going to fit in that gap. Alright, wonder if I can reuse that O-ring. I think I'm going to. Okay, so you see these ring gaps on here? You do not want to put all three of these in the same spot, right? So we're going to offset those. None of these are going to go on the bottom. I'm going to put one like at 10 o'clock, one at 2 o'clock, and then maybe the ring gap up here at the very top. The book says 10 foot-pounds on these. These two dots lined up right here on the camshaft. So I'm not sure why they don't have clear markings on this balance shaft at all, and it wasn't marked. I know it makes a difference on how that goes, I would think. So I marked it. There it is. Let's go ahead and pop a new seal in here while we have this out. that. So I need to get that a little further in there, and I could use like a round punch and carefully tap the edge in deeper. I don't have any sockets that are deep enough. That would be my normal go-to. I wonder if I don't have any pipe anywhere. This is a radiator hose splice. Let's see if that'll fit it. Oh, you know what? I think that'll work. Let's try that. All right, I think that'll work right there. All right, let's take two on this. After that frustrating smoky engine, I went ahead and yanked this back apart again. It's kind of funny how you've done it a couple of times. This last time I took it apart, I mean, it didn't take me 3 minutes to take it apart. So the ring set that I put on there, I reused that oil ring on the bottom, only because I think this other oil ring that I had was, it's actually the wrong number. So what I did is I went ahead and reordered a ring set, and this is a Honda brand ring set, and it was more than double the cost of that Amazon one. So the oil ring's going to go on first, then the black ring goes on second, and on the ring there's a little bitty small number on the top side of the ring that goes up, and then the silver ring right here, it's going to go on the top. So I'm going to check the ring gaps real quick. And I put the ring in here, and I push this down so the ring is flush as could be, and we're going to check this gap in here. Okay, 8 thousandths is loose, and that 15 really won't go in there, so we're within specs. We'll check all three of those rings to make sure. The oil gap has a little bit different gap on it. I think it's a little bit larger if I'm not mistaken, but we'll check it too. So again, we're looking at 6 on the intake side and 8 thousandths on the exhaust side. I feel like I'm missing a cap on this exhaust side, like a shim cap or something. It's hitting the edge of this retainer before it ever touches the top of that valve stem. Let me check for some kind of a valve stem spacer that goes on there. All right, so I got her all put back together for the exception of this exhaust valve stem rotator. It's a little cap that goes on there. I do not remember that little cap not being on there. And it was running before, you saw it run, but I went ahead and ordered one. It was about $7 or so off Amazon. It'll be here in a couple of days. But one thing I did notice when I took this off the last time, that there's a crack right there. So I think I'm going to go ahead and grind that off and weld it up. As much of a pain it is to get the welder out, but we'll do it right now. All right, that looks pretty good. All right, so I tossed the motor back on here and was getting ready to order that exhaust valve rotator cap. And as I was cleaning off the bench, the mess that was the bench, I found it. That's what it looks like right there. It just goes right on top of that valve stem. So you know, let's put that on and let's see if she'll start up. Listen to that purr. Oh, beautiful. Okay, let's finish putting it together. Okay, well, all right. I might have to tighten those belts up a little bit more. But over here on the side of the house, I had some foundation work done, and some of the extra work they had excavated out, they put right here. Let's see if this thing will compact some of that down in there. It's been there for a little while, though. Alright, so you can see that it does work. It's just that you can't use that in clay, right? It did not want to move. It's stuck on the ground. So what I'll need to do here is tighten those belts up just a hair. And let's take it out to Perrin.